Learn English through stories. U34 Answers PDF. Adapted and modified by Kulwant Singh Sandhu. Contents: Vocabulary 11 tests. Answers: 1. Complete the collocations in each sentence with an appropriate word from the box. Read the instruction manual before using your new word processor. B. David Copperfield is an autobiographical novel. C. What did it say on the weather forecast? D. This is a party political broadcast on behalf of the Democratic Party. E. What time is the next news bulletin? F. This channel doesn't have very good sports coverage. G. A first edition of this book is worth a fortune. H. The mass media in most countries is dominated by advertising. I. When does our new advertising campaign begin? J. I spent all of yesterday evening looking at this holiday brochure. 2. Read the text and decide which answer A, B, C, or D best completes each collocation or fixed phrase. After more than 50 years of television, it might seem only too obvious to conclude that it is here to stay. There have been many objections to it during this time, of course, and on a variety of grounds. Did it cause eye strain? Was the screen bombarding us with radioactivity? Did the advertisements contain subliminal messages, persuading us to buy more or vote Republican? Did children turn to violence through watching it, either because so many programs taught them how to shoot, rob, and kill, or because they had to do something to counteract the hours they had spent glued to the tiny screen? Or did it simply create a vast passive audience, drugged by glamorous serials and inane situation comedies? On the other hand, did it increase anxiety by sensationalizing the news and filling our living rooms with war, famine, and political unrest? 3. Read the text and decide which answer A, B, C, or D best completes each collocation or fixed phrase. With the advent of so-called reality TV, which puts the emphasis on ordinary people doing ordinary things on TV, the BBC has been much criticized for dumbing down its schedules. But it worries me that the biggest victims of this never-ending diet of violent cartoons, immoral dramas, and banal docu-soaps is the nation's children. The sheer quantity of TV watched by the under-16s is truly alarming, with the national average for Britain placed at 3.5 hours per day. The programs that are rubbish easily outnumbered the programs that are decent and watchable. There will no doubt be howls of protest out there from people who believe that TV is educational. Educational, my foot. Fast-moving visual images serve no useful educational purpose and will be forgotten by the next day. A young family near me has recently taken a stand against TV and given their set away. Their children now do something truly educational. They read books. 4. Complete each sentence using one of the words from the box. The first chapter is based on fact, but the rest of the book is complete fiction. B. David was unable to read the postcard because the writing was illegible. C. I understood the gist of the article, but I didn't read it in detail. D. Brenda's comments were so insulting they were unprintable. E. Bill had decided to study French literature at university. F. I managed to make notes of the speech in shorthand. G. Old Mrs. Brown never went to school and is illiterate. H. Some people feel that Davis's prose is better than his poetry. I. Sheila left the manuscript of her novel on a train by mistake. J. Just tell me the outline of the story, don't go into too much detail. 5. In most lines of the letters below, there is either a spelling or punctuation error. Correct these mistakes. Dear Editor, I am writing to express my dissatisfaction with the pictures, recently published in your newspaper, of the soap actress Kathy Walter, shown sunbathing topless on a beach in the Mediterranean. Was the approval of Miss Walter sought for this tasteless invasion of her privacy? Of course not. Miss Walter's face appears on TV every day, so she is public property. Well, Miss Walter may be a public figure, but that does not give you the right to photograph her in an embarrassing situation, purely in the interest of your circulation figures. And she still has a right to enjoy private moments with her friends, in a quiet location of her choice. The growing phenomenon of newspapers deliberately seeking scandal in order to outdo each other is one that this reader finds both offensive and insulting to one's intelligence. Yours sincerely, Jeff Rope. Dear Mr. Rope, with all due respect, your letter is based on some extraordinary assumptions regarding famous people. First of all, we are in the business of selling newspapers, and if we had to ask the permission of the subject of every photograph, no copies would ever make it to the printing press. You should also remember that Miss Walter's career has benefited enormously from the press and other media, and indeed she has often used the media to her own advantage. She is one of the most photographed personalities in the country, and cannot expect to dictate when and where she wants media attention, and when she does not. In short, we feel that we were fully justified in our decision to publish the photographs concerned. Yours sincerely, Sarah Hull. Editor. 6. Both options make sense. Underline the one which forms a common collocation. I do like Channel 4's coverage of the big sporting events. B. We do not have the book in stock. It is out of print. C. This report comes from our political correspondent, Edward Ross. D. The Sunday News has the highest circulation of any newspaper in Britain. E. They are bringing out Sue's book in a new edition soon. F. Are books subject to censorship in your country? G. Through market research, the advertising company identified their target customer. H. They are very concerned with the image that the advert projects. I. At least 50 members of the public wrote in to complain about the ad. J. He sits there for hour after hour, staring blankly at the screen. 7. Complete each space in the text with a word formed from the word in capitals. A man takes a single spoonful of a substance and puts it in his mouth. Instantly he is transported to another world, a place of surreal visions and swirling colors. He rushes headlong into this parallel universe. What is this terrifying compound with the power to induce such a mind-blowing trip? Is it some kind of drug that makes the user hallucinate? No, it's just a humble cereal ad on TV. The Fruity Wheat ad is the latest in a long line of controversial ads whose imagery appears to draw on the effects of mind-altering substances. Colin Reese of the Stop TV Advertising Group said, "I find this and other such ads totally unacceptable. Take this stuff and you will experience something out of this world." The implication of the ad seems clear to me. The companies who make them will say that any relation to drugs is just one interpretation of the advert and not one that they intended. When I complained about this ad, I was told that it didn't contain any subconscious messages. I thought that was a bit rich. I think the message in it is blatantly obvious, and I don't think we should be giving TV viewers any encouragement in that respect. 8. Memory. Complete the second sentence so that it has a similar meaning to the first sentence, using the word given. Do not change the word given. This house makes me think of the place where I grew up. This house reminds me of the place where I grew up. B. I used to remember things a lot better. My memory is a lot worse than it was. C. Please say hello to your mother for me. Please remember me to your mother. D. Edward couldn't remember anything about the crash. Edward had no memory of the crash. E. I'm sorry, but I've forgotten your name. I'm sorry, but your name has slipped my mind. F. Remind me to put the rubbish out. Don't forget to tell me to put the rubbish out. Or, don't let me forget to put the rubbish out. G. That makes me think of something that happened to me. That brings to mind something that happened to me. H. I can never remember anything. I am very forgetful in my old age. I will never forget seeing New dance. Seeing New dance was an unforgettable experience. J. Brenda is very good at memorizing phone numbers. Brenda is very good at remembering phone numbers by heart. Or, Brenda is very good at learning phone numbers by heart. 9. Rewrite the underlined part of each sentence using a metaphor from the box. 1. The presidential visit meant kept everyone on their toes. 2. Rosetta shouldered the blame for the failure of the project. 3. I don't think Greg will ever win Rosie's heart. It's time he faced the facts. 4. The company had done so well that year that it agreed to foot the bill for a staff night out. 5. I'm glad I'm not heading this team. 6. Eva has an eye for a bargain. 10. In each of these conversations, the second speaker uses an idiom to repeat what the first speaker says. Complete the idioms. 1. Ben, well, Luke has finally learned that he can't expect everyone else to pay for him. Philip, yes, I think he's got the message. 2. Anne, well, Sarah will certainly learn never to do that again. Ross, yes, that should definitely teach her a lesson. 3. Francis, his suggestions are worth taking seriously, aren't they? Brad, yes, they've certainly given us food for thought. 4. Will, Joe's convinced himself that his neighbors are drug smugglers. He's just crazy. Nick, yes, I'm sure the whole thing is a figment of his imagination. 5. Grace, well, I think we were right to tell her what really happened, don't you? Steve, yes, it was important to put the record straight. 11. Complete each of these idioms. 1. I want to know where I stand. One day you say you love me, the next day you say I'm just a friend. It's driving me crazy. 2. He spent PS 500 of my money. I'll never lend him my credit card again. I've learnt my lesson. 3. I don't know all the ins and outs of the situation, but I think one of the directors is going to resign. There must be a big problem. 4. I can understand that she needed help, but what beats me is that she should ask someone as stupid as Leon to help her.